Derita, derita, derita. Stop. Okay. Up. Don't move. Asparagus.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Stephanie and welcome back to my channel. So in the video today, I wanted to talk about tutoring. So do PA schools offer tutoring? Do the programs offer tutoring for your classes, specifically for those of you who are struggling or who are just curious about PA school? How do PA schools work, etc., about attending PA school, applying PA school? Do PA schools have tutoring? So I'm just going to talk about my experience. Now this is just my school. I don't know if other PA programs do this, so this is why it's another important thing that when you're applying to PA school and you get an interview, for example, you can ask if they offer tutoring services. Don't feel ashamed about asking for tutoring services. No, it's a good question to ask because you want to make sure that if you're struggling in a certain specific class, they have tutoring so that you can pass that class. So I wanted to talk about tutoring in PA programs. So my program, which is University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, it's located in the valley, south part of Texas, literally on the tip of Texas. It's right next to Reynosa, Mexico. And so my class has about 80 students. They have increased the class size to 100, which is good for those of you who are interested to apply into UTRGV. So there's 20 more spots, so they're accepting more students, which is great. Now, I'm currently my second year. I finished my didactic year already, so I'm in my clinical rotations right now. So in regards to tutoring, do PA schools offer tutoring? My program did offer tutoring, which was fantastic. It was a lifesaver. So it offered tutoring the entire didactic year. The tutoring was usually on the weekend, which was a Saturday, and they had a set schedule from 8 to around 4 p.m. and they had different classes that they tutored for. So you were able to go and choose what class you wanted to attend for tutoring. Now, just because you attended tutoring doesn't mean that you were doing poorly in your classes. I know one of my classmates, which is one of the top students of my class, attended tutoring every weekend, and she just did it because she enjoyed it. She enjoyed having that repetition of information and learning it in a different way. On top of that, we have certain professors that sometimes are a little difficult to understand, whether it's because of their accent or whether it's because of the way they teach, or sometimes they go through too fast through the material. So being able to sit down and having someone tutor you on the information makes it better and clearer for you to understand. And on top of that, it's repetition. And that's all it really is in PA school, especially your didactic year, is you're making sure that you're doing that repetition. Because repetition is what's going to get you good grades. And I can't stress this enough. Whether it's reading the information over and over again every day, whether it's making flashcards and going over the information every day, whether it's seeing the information in a different way, whether it's videos, whether it's audio, whether it's just reading, etc. Just repetition is really, really important in PA school because it's so much information in such a short period of time. It really is like medical school on a crash course. So that's why repetition is a key. So I attended almost every Saturday for tutoring. I attended it because I thought it was a great way for me to learn the information in a different way. And then most of the individuals who taught my tutoring classes were second year. So last year, I was a first year didactic year. Most of these students were either second or third years. They were either in their clinical year or they were about to graduate. So they were very, very well acquainted with the information. And I specifically attended the class for EKG because I struggled a lot with EKG for tutoring. I also attended my clinical medicine class, which is basically the meat of your didactic year. And it's the meat because it's the class that's worth the most. In my experience, it's worth 4 hours. And then on top of that, it's the class that really is going to define your career as a PA because it shows you how to diagnose a patient, what tests to order on the patient, and how to treat the patient. So this class is really important. And so I attended tutoring for that class. I attended tutoring for my pathophysiology class also, which is the pathology of diseases, specifically like during certain parts of PA school. So PA school, you have blocks of the information you go through, whether it's cardiovascular, whether it's neuro, whether it's a renal system, etc. So you go through blocks, and you know, some pathophysiology is a lot harder in some blocks in comparison to other blocks. So for example, dermatology, I thought the pathophysiology was very easy for dermatology. But when you're getting down to the pathophysiology of the renal system, of the kidneys, the chemistry, once again, chemistry, I'm very bad with chemistry. So the chemistry of how the kidneys work, your metabolic acidosis, etc. It was really, really hard. So I always made sure that I attended pathophysiology tutoring for blocks like this, like also the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system, etc. So I attended it for my clinical medicine class, my pathophysiology class, and my EKG class. They had it also on, they had tutoring for pharmacology, also tutoring for anatomy, etc. So they had almost all the classes for tutoring, and you were able to attend whichever class you wanted to from 8 to 4. They tended to run around 2 hours, so I would sit there for 2 hours. Sometimes I would attend all of them, it really depended. So I was there almost every Saturday, and it really, really helped me out because once again, if you have questions, the student is able to answer them and tell you. You get that one-to-one versus sometimes, you know, in a larger class, specifically in a class of like 80 plus students, sometimes being that I'm very, very quiet and very shy, I would be intimidated to raise my hand and ask a question because I didn't want to sound like I didn't know the information or I was dumb or etc. So being at a tutoring class, you have that one-to-one with your fellow tutor and they're able to answer that question. And if you have another question because you still don't understand that information, they're able to sit down and teach you the information. So that's what I really liked about the tutoring. In my tutoring sessions, sometimes we would have about 10 to 15 students, 20 students max, so there wasn't that many students there. So it was even more private. So I really, really like that about tutoring. So that's why it's really important, once again, that if you do use tutoring, if you use tutoring a lot during your undergraduate years, that when you're applying to PA schools, you look to see if they have tutoring services. Sometimes they won't list it on their site. So if you go to an interview, make sure you raise your hand and you can ask, does your program offer tutoring services, etc. Don't be ashamed. Like I said, just because you go to tutoring doesn't mean that you're dumb or you don't know the information. Once again, tutoring is all about, or just a didactic year, and learning medicine is all about repetition and seeing that information in different ways. So that's why I decided to attend tutoring. So yes, tutoring services are available in PA programs. It just depends what program you apply to and whether that program does have tutoring services or not. And I really, really recommend them. If your program does have tutoring services, I really recommend them. Just because you attend does not make that you're no less, you're dumb, or etc. It does not mean that at all. So don't be ashamed of attending them. If your program does have tutoring services, I really, really recommend them. Alright guys, thanks for watching my videos. As always, if you guys have any questions or anything like that or any comments, make sure you comment below or send me an email and I'll get back to you guys as soon as possible. Also, if you guys have any topics or any questions you guys want me to address in future videos, please comment below. That way I can address those videos, because sometimes I run out of ideas of what videos to make. So it's really helpful if you guys let me know, hey, I have a question about this or that. That way I can make a video and address that question. Alright guys, talk to you guys later. Bye.